in the blistering ruins of what was once California, where the sun hammered down like a relentless forge and the wind carried the ghosts of nuclear fire, Aria Kane emerged from Vault 52's massive door with a final, echoing thud that severed her from the only sanctuary she had ever known. 23 years underground, fluorescent hums, recycled air, and the false cheer of holotapes had been her world. But it shattered the night the Dust Reapers breached their defenses. They'd come during a trade run, guns barking like rabid dogs, dragging her father Elias, the overseer himself, into the night. Raiders, feral and hungry, snatching him for ransom, or worse. The council voted to seal up and forget, but Aria couldn't. His blood ran in her veins, stubborn and unyielding. Fear gnawed at her gut, like radiation sickness as she slipped out. Pip watch strapped to her wrist, laser pistol heavy at her hip, backpack laden with stim packs and purifiers. This wasn't just escape. It was a desperate lunge into the unknown, driven by a daughter's raw terror and unquenchable rage. What if she was too late? What if the Wasteland claimed her first, leaving Pa to rot in some raider hellhole? Her heart raced, a cocktail of adrenaline and grief, as she stepped into the blinding light, the vault door grinding shut like a coffin lid. The surface assaulted her senses immediately, the metallic tang of irradiated air choking her throat, dust stinging her eyes like accusations. Earth's scars stretched before her, crumbling Los Angeles skyline like skeletal fingers clawing at an orange-hazed sky. Her heart pounded with a mix of exhilaration and dread as she traced the raiders' trail, tire ruts etched in bloodied sand. Memories flooded in, unbidden, Pa's gravelly voice in the vault's dim rec room, weaving tales of the great flash in 2077. How their ancestors hid while the world incinerated.
"We're survivors, kiddo,"
he'd say, his hand rough on her shoulder, eyes distant with unspoken regrets. Losing Ma to vault fever had bonded them closer, him teaching her circuits and marksmanship, instilling hope amid the steel walls. But now, that hope twisted into fury. How dare they take him? Each step forward was a battle against the rising panic, the pipwatch beeping rad warnings like a countdown to her own end. Thirst clawed at her, but she swigged purified water and pressed on, hallucinating his face in the heat shimmer, whispering.
"Hold on, Pay."
Doubt crept in like a shadow. Was she equipped for this? A vault girl soft from controlled environments, facing a world that devoured the weak. Yet, beneath the fear, a fierce determination burned. Pa had raised her to fight, not hide. Hours melted into a grueling march, her boots sinking into irradiated sand that shifted like treacherous waves. Exhaustion tugged at her limbs, but the trail pulled her onward, a lifeline to her father. She crested a dune and spotted a ragged settlement clustered around a parched well, shanties of scrap metal and car husks, smoke rising from fires that promised fleeting warmth. Her stomach knotted with vulnerability as she approached, hand twitching toward her pistol. These were Wastelanders, etched by survival's blade, their eyes holding the same haunted gleam she felt blooming in her own.
"Looking for Dust Reapers,"
She called to a one-eyed traitor, voice steadier than the tremor in her chest.
They took my pay.
He squinted, spitting disdain.
Vault Freshie, reapers headed east to the iron spires. You're walking into death, girl.
Trading caps for a crude map, she absorbed his warnings of rad storms, mutants, and warring factions. The Guardians hoarding tech like jealous gods, the new frontier republic grasping at order, enclave shadows lurking. Doubt intensified like a rad storm brewing. Was she insane? A sheltered vaultie chasing phantoms? The map felt heavy in her hands, a fragile thread to paw, but the traitor's words echoed her inner turmoil. Out here, hope was a luxury, and revenge a fool's errand. Still, the ache for her father overrode it, a fierce protectiveness fueling her resolve, transforming fear into a sharpened blade. As purple dusk bled into night, Aria hunkered in an abandoned shack on the settlement's edge, wind howling accusations through the cracks. Sleep came in fragments, dreams replaying Pa's capture, his defiant roar as they hauled him away, her own screams echoing uselessly. Guilt twisted like a knife. She should have fought harder, been there sooner. What kind of daughter abandons her anchor? The isolation pressed in, a crushing weight, making her question everything. The vault's false security, her own naivety. Jolted awake by scraping boots, her pulse spiked. Peering out, she saw power-armored figures patrolling, guardians with their hammer insignias glowing under moonlight. Saviors or tyrants? Her mind raced. Approach them for help or hide? Before she could decide, a shadow materialized. A lean man in a frayed duster, yellow-tinged eyes gleaming from rad exposure, revolver at his side.
Vaulty on a joyride?
He rasped, smirk hiding depths of his own scars.
Jax Harlan, bounty hunter, you suicidal, darlin'?
Pistol raised, trembling with adrenaline, Aria met his gaze. Loneliness mirrored back, his. A wasteland-weary isolation, hers, the fresh wound of loss. Trust was a gamble, but solitude was suicide.
Aria Kane, hunting raiders who took my father. You in?
He chuckled bitterly, weighing her with those glowing eyes.
For caps, maybe, but out here, alliances break like bones.
Under the stars, with Guardian's light sweeping close, they talked, him sharing tales of bounties gone wrong, losses that scarred deeper than radiation, her confessing the vault's stifling safety, the void left by Pa's absence. A fragile bond sparked, not just alliance, but a shared hunger for purpose in the chaos. Jax's cynicism clashed with her raw optimism, yet it grounded her, easing the panic that had gripped her since emerging. Pa's fate pulled her onward, but now, woven with Jax's reluctant partnership, her quest felt less like blind vengeance and more like a path to reclaiming her fractured self. As they set out east at dawn, the wasteland's horrors loomed, but so did a glimmer of redemption, a chance to honor Pa, to evolve from vault girl to survivor, heart scarred but unbroken, in a world that demanded she bend or shatter.